Okay, Kelsey, thanks so much for taking a minute to get on camera for us. We want to be able to let your clients get to know a little bit more about you, the person behind the phone call that you're talking with these clients with all the time. So let's start at the top. Tell me about you. Where are you from?
From here, but moved around a lot.
Okay, moved around a lot. Tell me about that. What does that mean?
I grew up here, but I technically graduated high school in California.
Okay.
So due to my dad's occupation and me being the last kid at home, I got moved out to Northern California, spent a year out there for high school and moved back and did 2 years at Dixie, got my associates, and then moved up north, northern Utah, went to UVU, got my bachelor's.
Okay, so let's back up. So you're born here, St. George.
Cedar City.
You're born in Cedar City.
Yeah, so I was actually born in Cedar City. A couple years I lived in Boulder, Utah.
Okay.
Very small town. Most people don't even know it exists.
Yeah, where's that?
Panguitch is probably the closest you could. Panguitch, Richfield.
So there's a Boulder near Panguitch, and that's called a town of Boulder?
Yeah, Escalante as well, near there. So that's kind of where my roots started as a lineman.
Okay.
Grew up Escalante and Boulder, and then lived up north for a couple years, and then moved to St. George. And again, lived here till I was a senior.
So small town, southern Utah girl moves to the big city of St. George.
Yep.
Okay.
Even then, though, not a big city. St. George used to be a lot smaller than it is now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you lived in the Virgin River or rode your bike in the hills, and that was the two main things of childhood.
Okay. Did you have siblings?
Baby of 5. So I have 3 older brothers and an older sister.
Okay. What was that like growing up the baby of 5?
I got beat up a lot.
Ouch. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I was the punching bag for a lot of things. No, it was fun. I'm 5 years from my closest sibling. They were all very close. And so I was kind of the annoying tail end.
Okay.
But we're all good now. All friends, all grew into our adult lives.
Okay.
So
you graduate high school, and you said you went to 2 years of school here in town at what was Dixie State College back then.
Yes.
And then you went up and got your bachelor's where?
At Utah Valley University.
Okay. And what'd you major in?
Community health education.
Community health education. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about what did you do with that?
Community health is a lot about grant writing and advocating for those who can't speak for themselves.
Okay.
A lot of it is trying to facilitate and come up with programs that can help others in various needs. So for instance, like the WIC program for mothers and children, a lot of that is a community health-based organization.
Okay.
Because you're reaching out for assistance to help those in need financially.
And so there's a 4-year degree that's dedicated to that, to essentially understanding those services and how to help people access them.
Basically, yeah.
That's
a lot of it
really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, program planning, grant writing, things of that nature.
Yeah. Okay. And then where did life take you after college?
I got married. My previous spouse played baseball for the Cincinnati Reds. So that took me everywhere. Arizona, California, Florida, North Carolina, New Jersey, just everywhere following him, raising kids.
Okay. And so you've got kids.
I do.
And they're how old?
I have 3, 10, 7, and 4. And then with my current husband, we have 3 others that are 18, 16, and 12.
Fun. Okay. What type of stuff do you guys like to do as a family now with these 6 kids?
Oh, it's a lot. It's busy. So it's with the array of ages, it makes it a little more challenging as well. But a lot of it is more just spending time with extended family. So a lot of our family events are based around holiday activities and getting together with the whole family.
Cool. Okay.
Dinners and games and such.
Yeah, dinners and games. So how long have you been at McMullin Injury Law?
Oh, about 1.5 years.
Okay.
So.
And what made you want to be a personal injury paralegal, or how'd you end up at the firm?
A lot of it was life led me to it, and I'm really glad that it did. I had gone through a lot in my life and kind of was down in the dumps, and a friend reached out and said that there was a place hiring that felt like I'd be a decent fit. So I had previously been in the medical field, worked at the hospital as a surgery scheduler.
Okay.
Also worked at the college for the athletic department doing insurance and billing needs. So when the opportunity presented itself to come to McMullin, it kind of felt like it was a good transition. Being from the medical field in the orthopedic area, as well as dealing with a lot of insurance needs, it kind of helped me learn a certain few aspects within the injury portion of things.
Yeah.
Kind of kicked in a little easier.
Yeah. I would think so. I mean, you deal with a lot of billing issues now, right?
Right.
So tell us about that. Like if somebody gets in a car accident, how do you handle getting them, enabling them to get the medical care they need and then getting it covered by the right insurance? What does that look like?
First off, I think a lot of it is understanding. A lot of people think that because they were in an auto crash, all of it should just be based off their own car insurance. And they don't want to touch their health insurance, which isn't really the case because your health insurance, you pay for it. It's there to help you when you have these medical needs, such as your injury sustained in a car crash or a dog bite or whatever it might be. So I think a lot of it is educating people to understand that they're all there as a benefit to help you as you go through your case.
So you get in a car accident, you get medical care, you use your PIP on your car, and
right.
then you turn to your health insurance and use them like you normally would.
Well, and I think a lot of people don't understand what PIP is and the benefit that it is.
So what's PIP?
PIP is your personal injury protection. It is something that is a part of your auto insurance that is there to help you with your medical needs based on your car crash. So I think, because I've even had to explain a lot of it to my mom since working at this job, once I gained the knowledge of it, because I didn't know much prior either.
Sure.
That it is a benefit for you, and that it's nothing that takes away. It's basically free money for you to help pay for your care. And then again, once that's kicked in and paid for, that's when your health insurance is there to help you.
Gotcha. So what do people do then if they've run out of PIP and they have no health insurance? How do they get medical care?
We work on liens a lot with certain providers that are willing to help still take care of the client through their treatment. And then once their PIP and their health insurance is, or if they don't have health insurance, we do have a signed lien with the providers that once they reach their settlement, we'll be able to, again, have a portion of that settlement go towards paying back the provider for their care.
Gotcha. So essentially these people, if they do get an attorney involved, have the ability to get whatever care they need, and they can get the care now and pay later when they get a settlement.
Yeah, because our main priority is just getting them back to as close to what they were pre-crash from their injuries.
Okay. What about what parts of being a personal injury paralegal have been tough or stress you out?
Honestly, starting this job was a lot of learning. There's a lot of situationally based things that make it to where not every situation is the same. So for me, that's where I'm very structured. I want things to be a certain way, certain way for every situation when it's not the case. So that's where for me, I struggled the most when I first started, was understanding that every case is different. Every case has different ins and outs. But then also I felt like that was kind of the beauty in it, because then it does help you learn more of how this industry works and how you can actually help each individual person for their specific needs.
So as far as the range of cases and how different they can be, can you think of an example? Like, what's the smallest settlement that you've seen a case end up resolving for? I have one on my mind, but it's still not entirely resolved. Just this cute little older lady who tripped and fell, broke her wrist, and the insurance company is only offering to pay for her medical care. They're not counting for any of her pain and suffering for the long run of what has happened to her wrist and the long-term effects that it's going to have on her life. And so I want to say they're offering just a couple $1,000s,
which is not a lot in the long run of what this individual has had to go through because of this.
So in that example, like Utah law requires that they make that person whole. You know, they try to financially compensate for the human experience of what happened to that person. So our job is to essentially make the insurance company do what they don't want to do and get a fair outcome rather than just covering the bills only. What about what's an example of a bigger case that you've worked on?
A bigger case that I've worked on, and that's where the one that comes to mind is a little bit more challenging. There was a individual who was driving intoxicated. As they're driving down the road, they veered into oncoming traffic and hit one vehicle, killing an individual, and then hit the second vehicle, which was also a client of ours. So we represented both vehicles that this person crashed into. With certain insurances, there is a portion that covers an individual, but then there's a larger portion that covers everybody in the crash, like a max amount that can go per this crash.
Sure.
So based on the fact that there was a death and there was injuries sustained in both cars, and there was an infant in one of the cars, that it should have been worth more. They should have been able to get more, but because of the amount of injuries, there wasn't the funds available. And that, to me, that's when it's hard. That's when this job is hard, is when you can't fully help those that need you can't get what they need because it's just not an option.
Yeah. So like if Utah law says that the insurance on the at-fault vehicle is supposed to try to make someone whole, like the accident never happened, then obviously there's some losses that are incompensable, meaning there's not an amount of money that would make it right, like a death. Right. And yet even in those scenarios, we run into these problems where there's just not enough insurance. Mm-hmm. What's state minimum insurance in Utah? $25,000 per person. Yeah. I agree with you. That can be really sad. What about, tell us a little bit about some of the attorneys that you've worked with at the firm. Who have you worked with primarily?
Primarily right now I work with Sean McGinnis. He's actually one of our newer attorneys. He is awesome. He is very detail oriented. He is very attentive, and he is very geared to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've also worked some with myself and with another attorney. You've kind of have had a decent amount of experience working with 3 different attorneys.
Honestly, I feel like I've worked with most everyone, which has been really nice. So I've worked with you a lot, as well as I've been in close contact with Jance Johnson, which has been awesome to learn from him. Jake Spencer's right across the hall, so there's a lot of questions that I gear towards him also. And then Jordan Palmer is very educated, very knowledgeable on what he does. So a lot of my questions get geared in that direction as well.
So you just kind of run around and put your questions everywhere.
I feel like I like to know, and I want to learn. So if there's someone there that can teach me and help me, I'm going to ask. I'm not afraid to ask a question.
Which attorney gets the most annoyed when you pop your head in their office with a question?
Probably you.
That's not good.
No. Honestly, everybody's awesome. Nobody seems to they probably get annoyed, but they don't show it very well. Okay. So it's
very,
good.
Very good at hiding their annoyance.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Well, awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking time to get on camera. Is there anything else that you would want a client to know about you or about being a personal injury paralegal that would help them understand a bigger picture of what's going on behind the scenes?
It's not a quick process. I think a lot of people think that a case is open and shut and you should be done in a blink of an eye, but it takes time. We want you to be healed, and it's not just about paying for the property damage. It's not about just getting your car back. There's a much deeper personal level to it all of feeling at peace and feeling back to yourself. Otherwise, life is just harder.
Yeah.
So it takes time.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks so much.